Over the past 12 hours, my mother has given birth to 1.4 million children, and there is no sign of her stopping, all because my father wanted to continue the family line. He actually tied up a fox and brought it home for the night. But after one night, the fox turned into a stunning beauty. So every night, my father would hang her from a ceiling beam. He would cinch her waist tightly with a satin ribbon and tie a papaya to each of her feet. When it was over, she would be forced to drink a bucket of papaya milk. Over time, my mother grew slim-waisted and long-legged, with skin so delicate it seemed it would break at a touch, and a backside 3 sizes larger than anyone else's. Yet instead of getting angry, my mother asked for it every day, without a single break. And so, my fox mother became pregnant with me. Years later, I went up the snowy mountain and suddenly saw a black python coiled around an injured little white fox. I had no time to think. I hurled my machete at it. It struck the giant snake squarely in the head. The black python thrashed a few times, then rolled its eyes back and went still. The little white fox was saved, but it was barely clinging to life. I quickly carried it home and carefully dressed its wounds with herbs. Before long, the little fellow regained its energy. It could run and leap again. From then on, the little white fox was like a puppy, sticking by my side all day, no matter how often I chased it away. But my family was poor. I could barely feed myself. Several times I drove it back into the snowy mountains, but every evening, it would always wander back. It would carry wild fruit in its mouth, or a wild rabbit or pheasant. Only then did I understand. The little white fox was telling me that it could fend for itself. That was when I finally took it in without worry. From then on, the little white fox became my only companion. When I herded cattle, it perched on a cow's back. When I studied by lamplight, it curled up in the corner of my desk, quietly keeping me company. At night, it slept curled in the crook of my arm. Then our peaceful days came to an abrupt end. The little white fox suddenly vanished. I searched every mountain and valley all day, but could not find even a single fox hair. At dusk, a white-haired old woman came to my door. Her face looked kind, but her eyes were sharp. "Young man, have you seen my little granddaughter?" I was utterly confused. No outsider woman had ever come to our village. So I asked, "Who is your granddaughter?" The old woman gave a soft cough, her gaze fixed tightly on me. "A few years ago, I left home and left my granddaughter to watch the house. But when I returned, she was gone." Someone said, "She was living in your home." Hearing that, I looked completely baffled. I clearly lived alone. I answered politely, "You must be mistaken. There is only me in my home. There is no young woman here." But the old woman gave a soft laugh. Her gaze shifted straight toward my kitchen. I turned to look and saw the missing little white fox. It was sitting by the stove, wagging its tail at the old woman. It was the first time it had shown itself to an outsider. The old woman said no more. She turned and vanished into the mountain forest. That night, the little white fox was as usual, sleeping curled in the crook of my arm. But early the next morning, when I woke up, the little fox had vanished. The moment I got out of bed, I saw something on the table. A silk pouch embroidered with fox patterns. Inside was a lock of a woman's long black hair, bound around the middle with red string. I did not know what it was for, so I took it to Uncle Wang. The moment Uncle Wang saw it, he burst out laughing and said, "A young woman is showing her affection for you. Take this to her family, and you can ask for her hand. Come on, tell Grandpa. Which girl has fallen for you?" I was dumbfounded. Could the little fox have carried this back in its mouth? But I never expected that. From then on, the little white fox never appeared again. I searched the mountains every day, but found nothing. I could only assume it had returned to its own home. Yet it felt as though part of my heart had been hollowed out. I felt so empty. I had no heart even for herding cattle or chopping wood. After searching like that for half a month, I fell into complete despair. I thought I would never see it again. Then, one night half a month later, I was sitting blankly outside my door, when I suddenly heard someone sobbing outside. An old woman leaning on a rattan cane was crouched at my doorway, her face covered with both hands, weeping bitterly. Frowning, I went to the door and asked what was wrong. The old woman abruptly lifted her head. Her voice was chilling as she said, "I am looking for my grandson. My grandson is missing. You have seen him, have you not?" A shudder ran through me. Last time, she had been looking for her granddaughter. This time, it was her grandson. Why did they both come looking for me? I quickly shook my head and said I had not seen him. But, on the old woman's face, a strange, distant look flickered. You have not seen him? Then what about 6 years ago? 6 years ago, on the snowy mountain. Did you see my grandson? Her tone sounded like an accusation, but also a threat, making my blood run cold. I tilted my head and thought for a long while. 6 years ago, I was only 12. I went up the mountain every day to herd cattle, but I truly could not remember ever seeing some old woman's grandson. So I patiently tried to reason with her. Ma'am, you must be confused. I really have not seen your grandson. It is getting dark. You should find somewhere to stay for the night. The moment I finished speaking, the old woman fell silent. She only stared at me with a smile that was not quite a smile. That eerie smile made my skin crawl. I kept backing away from her smile, then turned and stumbled toward Uncle Wang's house. Gasping for breath, I told him about the old woman. Uncle Wang had a pipe clenched between his teeth. When he heard me out, he froze. The stem of his pipe slipped from his hand. He suddenly pointed behind me and said in a trembling voice, "Is that the one you mean?" My back went cold. An icy chill shot from my feet to the top of my head. Trembling, I turned around and saw that same old woman standing soundlessly behind me. She still wore that eerie smile. Her eyes locked on me. Though I had not heard a single footstep, I was terrified out of my wits. I quickly hid behind Uncle Wang, clutching the hem of his clothes, my whole body shaking uncontrollably. Uncle Wang forced himself to stay calm. He looked the old woman up and down and asked in a low voice, "Which village are you from? Why come to our Linjia village in the dead of night? What exactly do you want?" But the old woman did not answer. She only repeated in a low voice, "I came to find my grandson." After that, no matter how Uncle Wang questioned her, she only gave a raspy little laugh. Her laughter was hoarse and eerie, echoing through the courtyard and making our scalps prickle. Seeing this, Uncle Wang's face grew darker. He brought out the white steamed buns and held them out to her. His voice carried a trace of impatience. "Take these and get out. Do not come to our village and frighten people again. Otherwise, do not blame me for what happens next." But after taking the buns and glancing at them, the old woman hurled them viciously to the ground. The buns rolled into the mud. She jerked her head up, pointed at me, and shrieked. Her eyes bloodshot. "He beat my grandson to death. He must pay with his life. I will haunt him for the rest of his life, and never let him know peace." Uncle Wang's face changed drastically. He hurriedly told me to turn on the courtyard light. I quickly pulled the light cord. Dim yellow light instantly filled the courtyard. Only then did I see clearly. Coiled on the old woman's shoulder was a dark red venomous snake. Its forked tongue flickered constantly. Its two sharp fangs were bared. It stared fixedly at me, its eyes filled with murderous intent. Uncle Wang panicked at once. Turning to me, he whispered, "Kid, my eyesight is poor. Look at that old hag. Does she have no shadow?" At those words, I abruptly turned to look. The old hag stood rigid beneath the light. Sure enough, there was not even a trace of shadow behind her. Cold sweat instantly seeped down my back, soaking through my clothes. I was too frightened to speak. I could only nod numbly. Uncle Wang suddenly raised his voice, pretending to be calm as he said, "Kid, do not be afraid. There is a treasured ancestral sword in the house. Go get it for me, quickly." Trembling, I ran into the house. I searched for ages, turning the entire house upside down, but found no sword at all. When I came out to say I could not find it, I saw the old woman's silhouette, already disappearing into the distance, vanishing into the pitch-black mountain forest. Only a faint, fishy stench remained. Looking panicked, Uncle Wang dragged me inside, shut the front door tight, and braced it with a table. Then he lowered his voice and said, "Silly child, there is no ancestral sword." I was bluffing her. "You have crossed paths with something unclean." With that, he turned off the lights. Then he quietly asked me, "Did you get into trouble up in the mountains? Did you offend someone?" I thought carefully. I had never offended anyone in my life. Uncle Wang asked again, "Have you killed something you should not have harmed? Some things in these mountains are not to be touched." Hearing that, I suddenly remembered 6 years earlier. To save that injured little white fox, I had chopped a black python to death. I told Uncle Wang about it, leaving out nothing. He shuddered all over, then slapped his thigh hard. He said urgently, "You unlucky child. The pythons, foxes, and snakes in these mountains all possess spirits. How could you harm them so recklessly?" Uncle Wang said, The next day, he would take me to find someone could help. The ritual master in the neighboring village. He told me to sleep at his house that night. No matter who called my name, I was not to answer. I was not to open the door, or even look outside. That night, I truly did not dare say a word. I curled up in the corner of the bed, barely daring to breathe. But around midnight, a sudden rustling came from outside, as if something were crawling across the ground. Then the old woman's weeping reached my ears again. It was hoarse, shrill, and broken. It filled me with panic. I looked up at the window. A hunched figure was slowly pacing outside. Then she suddenly pressed herself against the window. Her eyes were fixed on the room, as though searching for me. A strange smile hung on her lips. I was too terrified to move. My entire body went rigid. Even my breathing became painfully careful. Then Uncle Wang's voice came from next door. He called out in a low voice, "Cover your head with the blanket. Do not look. No matter what you hear, do not make a sound." I quickly pulled the blanket over my head. My heart pounded wildly, as if it would burst from my chest. But the weeping drifted near, then far, never stopping. It lingered in my ears, keeping me awake. Not until after 4 in the morning did the weeping outside gradually fade. Yet I still did not dare emerge from beneath the blanket, afraid I would see that old woman the moment I looked out. After who knew how long, exhaustion finally overcame me, and I drifted to sleep. But the instant I fell asleep, I dreamed of a black python, hacked into a bloody pulp. Its eyes were fixed on me, and it spoke in a human voice. "Give me back my life. Give me back my life. You will pay with your life." I screamed in terror, bolting upright in bed. Daylight already filled the sky outside. Uncle Wang stood at my bedside, urgently telling me to get up. He took me to the ritual master in the neighboring village. But that night, that mad woman came again. She was still pressed against the window, smiling at me. Her laughter was stranger and more piercing than before. Uncle Wang went outside with an axe, but saw nothing. Afterward, he burned incense, candles, and paper offerings, kowtowing toward the deep mountains and begging forgiveness. It did not work at all. Worst of all, the next morning, I somehow found myself lying beneath a huge tree on the snowy mountain. It was where I had killed that black python years ago. I hid at Uncle Wang's home for 3 days. We tried every possible method. Uncle Wang was worn to a shadow of himself, his eyes sunken, and his spirit drained. I could not bear to drag him into this any longer. So on the 4th morning, despite Uncle Wang's pleas, I raced home. But to my surprise, the moment I reached my door, Uncle Wang came panting after me, an iron shovel in his hand. His face was set with determination. "Silly child. How could Grandpa watch you walk to your death? Come on. No matter what happens today, I will help you put an end to this. I will not let you die for nothing." Uncle Wang suddenly turned to me. His gaze was complicated, and his voice was grave. "The Liu family spirits have come to claim your life. There is only one way for you to survive." At that, I nearly jumped out of my skin. I urgently asked, "What way, Uncle Wang? Please tell me. As long as it saves my life and yours, I'll do anything." Ask the Hu family for help. What Liu family? What Hu family? No one in our village has either surname. I was still confused, thinking Uncle Wang was trying to cheer me up. But Uncle Wang solemnly shook his head and told me, "There are 5 great spirit families in these deep mountains. They are Hu, Huang, Bai, Liu, and Hui. That black python you killed years ago belonged to the Liu family, and that little white fox you once saved was likely from the Hu family. You killed one of the Liu family to save one of the Hu family. Only the Hu family can help with this. There is no other way." I trembled violently as I listened. I quickly asked Uncle Wang if there was another way. I truly did not dare enter the mountains again, much less seek some Hu family fox spirit. Humans and spirits are not meant to walk the same path. I never wanted you to take this path, but we have exhausted every option. There is no other way out. As he spoke, Uncle Wang pointed at my chest. "You still have that fox-embroidered pouch, right?" Trembling, I pulled it out. I had kept it with me all these years. "Good. It is a token from a young woman of the Hu family. With it, you may be able to find the Hu family and beg them for help." The moment he finished speaking, a sudden sound came from the yard outside, a dense chorus of rustling sounds. It sounded like countless things crawling. The sound drew closer, raising goosebumps all over me. Uncle Wang's face changed drastically. He grabbed the shovel beside him, his wary eyes fixed on the door. Then something terrifying happened. That mad woman stood at the doorway, looking utterly sinister. My head buzzed. My legs went weak with fear. Uncle Wang yanked me back, then braced the door shut with a table. He turned and roared at me. Listen, boy. Only if the Hu family intervenes can our village be saved. Only then can you be saved. Uncle Wang pointed at the back window, his voice urgent. Climb out the back window, take the token, and run to the mass graveyard on Nanshan. It is at the edge of the Hu family's territory. No matter what you hear, do not turn back. If you turn back, you will lose your only chance. The swarm of snakes outside was already slamming against the front door. The door was about to give way. Several small snakes had already slipped through the cracks, darting across the floor. Uncle Wang clenched his teeth, using his body to hold the door shut. Veins bulged across his face. Hurry, stop wasting time. Any longer, and it will be too late. I cannot hold them off much longer. I looked at elderly Uncle Wang, and tears streamed from my eyes. My heart was full of guilt and reluctance. I knew Uncle Wang was using his life to protect my escape. I kicked the back window open, looked back at Uncle Wang once, then plunged into the endless night. I did not dare pause for even a moment. I had not run far when dense rustling erupted behind me. A dark red venomous snake was chasing me. It was incredibly fast. It was about to bite my heel. My heart sank, and my foot slipped. I fell forward onto the ground. My knees and palms were scraped bloody. The snake was about to strike, and I closed my eyes in despair. Just then, a white blur shot from the nearby bushes. It let out a familiar fox cry, sharp and urgent. I looked closely. It was the little white fox that had vanished long ago. It had grown quite a bit since then. It even had details. A faint white glow radiated from its body. Fearlessly, it lunged at the venomous snake and grappled with it. I hurriedly scrambled to my feet, snatching up a woodcutter's machete to help. But the little white fox clamped the snake in its jaws and darted into the pitch-black forest. Only a white afterimage remained. I wanted to chase after it, but the woods were too dark to see the path. Besides, Uncle Wang was still waiting for me to save him. I could not waste time. A night breeze swept past, carrying a familiar, unusual fragrance. It was the scent unique to the little fox, light and clean, and oddly comforting. In that instant, I understood. It was no ordinary fox. It truly was a fox spirit of the Hu family. It had deliberately saved me and kept me company all these years. The instant I saw it just now, the fear in my heart eased considerably. But I had no time to hesitate. Uncle Wang was still waiting for me to save him, and the Liu family could catch up at any moment. I took a deep breath and forced myself to keep running toward Nanshan. I had never run so fast in my life. Wind howled past my ears. Behind me, I always seemed to feel something cold and slick, brushing against my heels, as if snakes were chasing me. I did not dare look back. By the faint moonlight alone, I raced along the rugged mountain trail. Nanshan was forbidden ground in our village. Normally, no one dared come here. The higher I climbed, the more desolate it became. Jagged rocks and unmarked graves surrounded me. Chill gusts rustled the leaves, like someone sobbing softly. It sent chills down my spine. Boy, slow down. Wait for your uncle. Uncle Wang's voice suddenly came from behind me, familiar and urgent. I halted, hope rising in my heart. Had Uncle Wang escaped? Just as I was about to turn around, Uncle Wang's warning flashed through my mind. No matter what you hear, never turn back. The voice drew closer. I could even feel someone breathing icy air on the back of my neck. Its tone grew more and more sinister. Boy, turn around and look at your uncle. Do you not want your uncle anymore? My heart tightened. I knew it had to be someone from the Liu family, imitating Uncle Wang's voice to lure me into turning around. I gritted my teeth and ran uphill like a madman, not daring to stop for even a second. Only after reaching a sinister field of unmarked graves did I finally slow down. I gasped for breath. Suddenly, a strange hissing sound came from ahead, like a snake slithering or someone grinding their teeth. By the moonlight, I saw a white figure seated atop a grave ahead, its back toward me. It held a broken wooden comb and slowly combed its long hair trailing along the ground. Its movements were slow and eerie. Young man, do you think my hair is beautiful? The white figure asked languidly. Its voice was cold, without a trace of warmth. My entire body froze. A chill shot from the soles of my feet to the top of my head. That was when I realized in horror. She was not facing away from me at all. She was facing me directly. Her hair was simply so long that it covered her whole face, making it seem as though her back was turned. The next second, she swept aside the thick, tangled hair before her face. revealing a deathly pale face. Her eyes were empty, and black blood dripped from the corners of her mouth. She was horrifying beyond words. At the sight, my legs gave out and I collapsed onto the ground. The fox-embroidered pouch on my chest, along with the lock of long hair inside it, rolled out. The female ghost let out a piercing shriek and lunged at me with a blood-curdling cry. Her arms stretched out, her nails long and sharp, as though she meant to tear me apart. At the same time, the dark red venomous snake also slithered from the grass behind me. It bared its fangs and lunged for my throat. A vicious ghost before me, a venomous snake behind me. I had only that machete to defend myself. Despair swallowed me whole. I had even prepared myself to die. Then, at that critical moment, the fox-embroidered pouch on the ground suddenly glowed red. That lock of black hair burst into flames without a breath of wind. It became a wisp of bluish smoke that shot into the sky. Red light enveloped the entire field of unmarked graves, driving away the chilling aura around it. Time seemed to freeze at that instant. The female ghost, suspended mid-lunge, seemed to slam into an invisible wall. She let out a shrill, agonized scream, as if she had seen her natural predator. She trembled from head to toe. She became a cloud of black smoke and desperately fled back into the burial mound. She did not dare emerge again. As for that ferocious venomous snake, it suddenly went limp, dropping to the ground with a thud. It buried its head deep in the dirt, trembling all over, without even the courage to flee. Before long, it stopped moving. I gasped for breath. Cold sweat soaked my back. I had not recovered from that terrifying ordeal, and my hands and feet still shook. Before I could get up, a chilling wind rose from nowhere. The dull, rhythmic beat of a gong suddenly echoed through the graveyard. It was eerie, yet solemn. Then, white funeral paper filled the sky, drifting down like a heavy snowfall. It covered the scattered rocks and graves. At the far end of the pitch-black woods, two ghastly pale lanterns appeared out of thin air. They swayed as they floated toward me. Golden fox patterns were embroidered on them, giving off a faint white glow. As the lanterns drew near, a snow-white sedan chair emerged from the night, for snow-white foxes pulled it. Beautiful fox patterns were embroidered across its body. Joy rose in my heart. That wisp of bluish smoke must have summoned reinforcements from the Hu family. I struggled quickly to my feet and headed toward the sedan chair. But before I had taken more than a few steps, a sinister voice came from the darkness on the other side of it. "Where are you? Come out now. Grandma will send you home to keep my grandson company." That sinister voice rode the wind into my ears. It was that mad old woman from the Liu family. She was still alive, and she had followed me here. She spoke as she walked, drawing closer step by step. Her footsteps scraped harshly. With every step, she left a wet, snaking trail across the ground. I shook in terror. I tightly clutched the glowing fox-embroidered pouch and hid behind a gravestone, afraid to move. I barely dared breathe. She seemed to catch the scent of burning hair and followed it closer, little by little. At last, those small feet in tattered cloth shoes stopped before the gravestone where I hid. "Let's see where you can hide now." The mad old woman slowly came toward me. She sniffed loudly, her gaze strange and eerie. She crept closer and closer. I could even smell the thick, fishy stench coming from her. After some time, the mad old woman gave a cold snort, as though she had sensed something. She turned and slowly walked away, vanishing into the darkness. Only after her figure disappeared completely did I finally gasp for air. Cold sweat had already soaked my back. My entire body was weak. Remembering Uncle Wang's instructions, I did not dare delay. I continued upward along the pale forest path, heading for the summit. Once I reached the mountaintop, I found the thickest old locust tree Uncle Wang had described. Behind it, I found a stone tablet carved with fox patterns. It bore the inscription, "Memorial Tablet of the Hu family ancestors." It carried an air of solemn dignity. I knelt before the stone tablet, holding the fox-embroidered pouch in both hands, and respectfully bowed my head to the ground 3 times. The next moment, a fierce wind suddenly whipped up around me. Fallen leaves rose and spiraled around me. The red light flared again and enveloped me. Then a gentle woman's voice sounded behind me. "I have awaited you for a long time. You finally came." I hurriedly stood and turned to bow to the woman. Before me stood a woman in a pale green dress. She was lovely, with a gentle, graceful air. A tail extended behind her as well. A faint immortal aura surrounded her. She smiled slightly and said, "My name is Qingyue, the eldest daughter of the Hu family. I came especially to bring you here. Once you become the Hu family's son-in-law, you will be family, so there is no need to be so formal." Only then did I breathe a sigh of relief. I hurriedly thanked her then asked anxiously, Miss Qingyue, please save Uncle Wang. Please save our village. The Liu family is still causing havoc there. If we wait any longer, it will be too late. But she waved a hand and smiled. Oh, why are you still treating our Lingxi like an outsider? She insisted that I come get you. Otherwise, I would not bother with mortal affairs. She smiled helplessly, her eyes filled with affection. I could not help asking, is Lingxi the little white fox I took in? Is she truly from the Hu family? Qingyue smiled. That is right. Lingxi is the Hu family's second daughter, and our most beloved little princess. Years ago, she came down the mountain to play, was injured, and you saved her. She never forgot you and secretly stayed by your side for 6 years. If the Liu family had not come seeking revenge, she would never have been willing to leave you. Do not worry. The Hu family will handle the Liu family. But first, you must marry Lingxi. After all, you saved her life, and she is deeply in love with you. The Hu family decided on this marriage long ago. What? Get married? The moment I heard those words, my face flushed bright red. My heart raced as I recalled the days Lingxi spent with me. She had been so gentle and adorable. I felt both shy and eager. Seeing me blush, Qingyue said even more happily, by Hu family custom, the bride and groom cannot meet before their wedding night. Do not worry. Princess Lingxi, who stayed with you for 6 years, is the Hu family's most beautiful girl, coveted by countless young fox spirits. That made me blush even harder. I did not dare reply. I could only lower my head and follow Qingyue to the Hu family estate. For the rest of the way, neither of us spoke. After walking for quite some time, we passed through dense woods, and suddenly saw a small mountain manor ablaze with lights. Red lanterns hung at its gate. Many servants in white stood outside. They carried themselves with distinction, clearly no ordinary people. As I followed Qingyue toward the gate, I suddenly glimpsed the second floor of the building opposite from the corner of my eye. I vaguely saw a girl dressed in red wearing a phoenix crown, leaning at the window and secretly watching me. But when she realized I had noticed her, she seemed terribly shy and hastily covered her face with her sleeve, refusing to let me see her. I frowned, but the corners of my mouth could not help rising. Could that be Lingxi? I could only suppress my curiosity and followed Qingyue into the building ahead. The moment I entered, I saw many people seated inside, men and women, young and old. Every one of them was remarkable. I was stunned. That elderly woman seated in the place of honor. I had seen her before. Was she not the white-haired old woman who came to my home looking for her granddaughter? Qingyue pointed to the elderly woman and introduced her. This is my mother, Grandma Hu, the head of the Hu family. Seeing this, I quickly cupped my hands and bowed. Respectfully, I said, Grandma Hu. Grandma Hu suddenly smiled at me. Though her smile was gentle, it carried a quiet authority that no one would dare take lightly. She nodded and said, Good child, rise. Your situation, I know all about it. As for Lingxi, thank you for taking care of her. After that, Qingyue introduced me to the others present. They were all Hu family elders, brothers, and sisters. They all seemed pleased to meet me. They said they had spoiled Lingxi, and that she could be a little willful. They asked me to be patient with her. After we sat down, Grandma Hu finally spoke. Qingyue, go outside. Guard the entrance. We do not welcome the Liu family. Do not let them come in and cause trouble. The banquet is ready. Everyone, take your seats first. As for the Liu family, we will deal with them tomorrow. Once only Grandma Hu and I remained in the room. Grandma Hu's expression suddenly turned grave. She said to me, Child, I know all about your situation. Old Madame Liu of the Liu family is narrow-minded. You killed her grandson. She will never let this go. Before you and Lingxi complete the wedding rites and become the Hu family's son-in-law, old Madame Liu may strike at any moment to ruin it, even dragging your entire village into it. My heart tightened. I quickly said, Grandma Hu, please save Uncle Wang, quickly. Please save our village. As long as you save them, I will do anything. Grandma Hu looked at me and nodded approvingly. You saved our Lingxi. The Hu family should help you with all our strength. But the Hu family has its own rules. Until the wedding ceremony, you must bear this yourself. We cannot intervene beforehand. Otherwise, we would break the rules and provoke a conflict between immortal clans. The consequences would be unthinkable. Do you understand? Though my legs shook uncontrollably, and my heart was full of fear, when I thought of Uncle Wang and everyone in the village, I forced myself to nod. I understand. Grandma Hu, as long as I can save them, I will risk everything. Grandma Hu shifted slightly, then let out an approving breath. Anyone who marries into the Hu family is truly extraordinary. I believe in you. After that, Grandma Hu had someone dress me in a groom's cap and crimson wedding robe, clad in red. My complexion looked much rosier. The moment I stepped outside, I climbed into a red bridal sedan. The sedan was spacious and comfortable. A faint, unusual fragrance lingered inside. It was Lingxi's scent. Soon after the sedan entered an alley within the manor, I suddenly heard a strange voice call from outside. Having a wedding, are you? What a lively celebration. Mind if I join the festivities? The sedan stopped at once. The air around us instantly grew tense. My scalp went numb with fear. I lifted the window curtain and looked ahead. Old Madame Liu stood in the middle of the alley, with an eerie smile on her lips. Insolence. This is Hu family territory. How dare you run wild here? Qingyue shouted furiously from outside the sedan. The Fox clan servants behind her rushed forward, forming a barrier before the sedan. They radiated immortal energy as they faced off against old Madame Liu. Suddenly, a green snake shot into the sedan from nowhere. It sank its fangs into my wrist. A searing pain tore through me. I screamed in agony. My wrist quickly swelled. An icy venom spread from the wound, leaving my entire body cold. After that, my consciousness faded. In a haze, Hu family servants supported me into the main hall. Noisy voices rang in my ears, along with Qingyue's anxious cries. When I woke again, I found myself in a room covered with red double happiness symbols. The room was decorated for celebration. A bride in a red veil sat on the bed. This was the bridal chamber for Lingxi and me. Remembering the snake bite, I hurriedly rolled up my sleeve to check it. Two faint fang marks remained on my wrist. Someone had already treated them. The pain had eased considerably, and some of the chill had left my body. Then I suddenly remembered Uncle Wang. Panic flooded my heart. I jumped out of bed ready to leave, to find Uncle Wang, and see how the village was doing. The bride on the bed suddenly asked, "Where are you going?" Her voice was soft and adorable, with a touch of spoiled petulance. It was Lingxi's voice. "I am going to find Uncle Wang. I do not know how the village is doing. I need to know whether old Madame Liu caused more trouble." With that, I yanked open the door, but Qingyue was standing guard outside. She immediately stopped me. "You cannot go. If you walk out that door now, you will not be able to save yourself, and Lingxi will be dragged into this too. Old Madame Liu is waiting outside the manor, just waiting for you to leave." With that, she shoved me back into the room and locked the door behind me. Then she turned and left. Before I could react, the bride spoke again. "If you dare leave tonight, I will cry my eyes out, and I will tell Grandma, so she can punish you." I was completely speechless. I could only try to soothe her first. "Lingxi, I am only going to check on Uncle Wang. I am not running away. I will come right back afterward." "All right." But she said, "No, I will not let you go. It is too dangerous outside. Besides, we have not held the wedding ceremony yet. We have not even shared the ceremonial wine. You cannot leave." I did not believe her. I went to the door and pulled at it desperately, but it was locked tight from the outside. I could not open it at all. No matter how hard I tried, it was useless. Just as my mind was spinning with panic, she spoke again. "Then I will go with you. I know a way to sneak you out, but you have to promise me, after you check on Uncle Wang, come straight back and marry me properly and share the ceremonial wine." I froze. Could it really be that easy? But she shook her head, whispering, "No, you have not lifted my red veil yet. My grandmother said, you must be the one to lift it, and we have to share the ceremonial wine before we are truly husband and wife." What a hassle. I anxiously glanced toward the door. Uncle Wang was weighing on my mind, and I could not waste any time. So I rushed to the bed and reached out to lift her red veil. But she stopped me again, saying unhappily, "You cannot use your hands. Use that little rod. Grandma said so. You must use a rod to lift the veil, or it will bring bad luck." I ran to the table and grabbed the rod. Then, I saw her fist suddenly clutch her red wedding gown. Even her breathing became careful and shallow. How could I care whether she was ready? All I wanted was to lift the veil quickly, so she could take me out to find Uncle Wang. So I lifted the red veil in one swift motion. The instant the veil came off, I was utterly stunned. She was truly beautiful. Her phoenix crown glittered with jewels, They sparkled brilliantly. She had jet black blunt bangs, ruby lips and pearly teeth, and huge, glistening eyes. She was even more beautiful than I had imagined. For a moment, I forgot everything else. I just stared at her, unable to bring myself to blink. She looked at me shyly, adorable beyond words. She was even more beautiful than I had imagined. For a moment, I forgot everything else. I just stared at her, unable to bear even blinking. The legends were true. Every fox immortal is beautiful. Seeing me stare at her like that, she grew even more nervous. Her cheeks turned bright red. Why are you staring at me like that? Do you think I am not pretty? Her words snapped me out of my daze. Only then did I remember why I was here. I hurriedly said, "You are beautiful. Incredibly beautiful. Lingxi, let us share the ceremonial wine. Then take me out to find Uncle Wang." All right. I am really worried about him. I knew that if I did not go along with her, I would never get out. So I quickly brought over 2 cups of wine and handed one to her. "Come on, drink. No backing out now," she said smugly. "That will not do. I want to hear you call me your wife." I was frantic with worry, but she was deliberately making things difficult. Helplessly, I said, "My wife. Now drink. I really have an urgent matter." Only then did she give a satisfied little humph. She looped her arm through mine to drink the ceremonial wine. We stood very close. We crossed arms and drank the ceremonial wine face to face. Afraid she would change her mind, I urged her to leave the moment we finished. She suddenly grabbed me. She warily glanced outside. Lowering her voice, she said, "We definitely cannot get out this way. Grandma used to lock me up all the time and would not let me go down the mountain. But I have a secret passage. It is in this room. Do not tell anyone, or Grandma will punish me." With that, she pulled me to the wall. She bent down and pried open a loose plank. It was a hidden door. It opened at once. Inside was pitch black, but it carried a faint scent of earth. She motioned for me to be quiet. She furtively poked her head out first, looking both ways. Once she made sure no one was there, she pulled me outside. She shouted excitedly, "We can finally get out." But who would have thought? The moment we stepped out, Grandma Hu and Qingyue were standing outside, watching us. Neither looked pleased. "You little brat. You are married now, yet you still cause trouble. Trying to sneak off so soon." Lingxi immediately wilted. She lowered her head, twisting the corner of her dress, and whispered defensively, "I only wanted to take him for a walk in the courtyard. I was not trying to run away." "Really? What are you trying to do? Do you think I do not know what you are up to? Get back to your room. I need to speak with Lin Chuan." Grandma Hu's face darkened. Her tone became sterner. "If you keep disobeying, I will personally supervise your wedding night. Then we will see if you still dare to be naughty." Lingxi nodded helplessly. She gave me an embarrassed glance, her eyes full of guilt. Then she turned and returned to the bridal chamber. Before leaving, she winked at me, telling me to come find her later. Grandma Hu led me into the main hall. She stared at me for several seconds, then said solemnly, "I know you are worried about your village chief, Uncle Wang. Do not worry. Now that you have married into the Hu family and become Lingxi's husband, we will protect you. She does not have the nerve to make an enemy of the Hu family. Do not go anywhere tonight. Stay here and rest easy. Tomorrow, I will send someone to take you back to the village." After Grandma Hu left, I took out the cloth bundle Uncle Wang had desperately shoved into my arms before I left. I opened it. Inside was a bank book, a battered, untitled ancient book, and a crumpled sheet of letter paper. The letter was from Uncle Wang. The handwriting was crooked. It was clear that when he wrote it, he had been in a great hurry. "Kid, by the time you read this letter, I may already be gone. Remember what I tell you. First, always keep your guard up, especially with the Hu family. The spirit folk have rules of their own. Do not make any mistakes. Second, the bank book contains the tens of thousands I saved over my lifetime for my funeral. Use it to pay your college tuition. No matter what, you must keep living well. Take good care of yourself. Do not disappoint me." After reading the letter, I could not stop the tears from falling. My heart was filled with guilt and worry. To save me, Uncle Wang had not hesitated to sacrifice himself. Yet there was nothing I could do. All I could do was sit here and wait to die. Who was I supposed to trust? Grandma Hu said Grandma Liu would not dare hurt Uncle Wang. But I still could not rest easy. I hastily wiped my face. When I returned to the room, I found Lingxi slumped over the table, lost in thought. Her eyes were downcast, and I did not know what she was thinking. When she saw my red-rimmed eyes and my distraught state, she hurried over, took my hand, and asked anxiously, "Husband, what did Grandma say to you? Why are you crying? Did Grandma mistreat you?" When Lingxi saw that I would not speak, only kept crying, her eyes reddened with worry too. Her small hand gently patted my back, her voice soft as cotton. "Husband, do not be sad. Is it Uncle Wang?" She stopped halfway through. Seeing me cry even harder, she quickly fell silent. She only gripped my hand tighter. "No matter what happens, I will help you. I will beg Grandma, then take you down the mountain to find Uncle Wang right now." "All right." I sniffed, carefully folded the letter, and placed it back in the cloth bundle. Then I touched the battered ancient book. Its cover was badly worn, and even its title was unreadable. Only one thing was carved in a corner of the cover, a tiny character for Liu. Its aura resembled Grandma Liu's in some ways, but felt far more ancient. "Lingxi, Uncle Wang gave me an ancient book and a bank book. He said it was his funeral savings, meant to put me through college." My voice was hoarse. But how could I think about that now? I only want to know whether he is safe. Lingxi leaned closer, stood on tiptoe, and looked at the ancient book in the bundle. Her brow furrowed, her little face full of confusion. "This book, I think I have seen it in Grandma's study. Grandma said it was left behind decades ago, when the Liu family and our Hu family became enemies. It records the Liu family's weaknesses, as well as ways to restrain snake spirits." As she spoke, her eyes lit up. "Wait, we can secretly look through it. Maybe we can find a way to deal with Grandma Liu and learn where Uncle Wang is." I hesitated. Grandma Hu had said, spirit families have rules of their own. Since this ancient book had been found by chance by Uncle Wang, there might be some taboo surrounding it. But when I thought of Uncle Wang's safety, I nodded anyway. I carefully opened the ancient book. Its pages were yellowed and brittle. The writing inside was in ancient seal script. I could not recognize a single character. I scratched my head in frustration. But Lingxi read it with great interest, murmuring under her breath, "So that is it." Back then, the Liu family's black python was Grandma Liu's grandson. His name was Lin Chuan. He came down the mountain looking for trouble and hurt many villagers. He nearly killed me when I wandered down the mountain to play. "When you saved me back then, you were actually ridding the village of a menace." I jerked my head up and stared at her in disbelief. "What did you say?" The black python I killed back then was not innocent. All these years, I had always felt guilty for killing that spiritually awakened black python. Even when Grandma Liu came for my life, I thought I deserved it. But I never imagined there was more to the story. Lingxi nodded firmly, her face full of indignation. Of course he was not. Liu Xuan was cruel by nature, and Grandma Liu always protected her own. Back then, our Hu family intended to teach him a lesson, but he hid deep within the snowy mountains. We could not simply enter the mountains and disturb the creatures there. We never expected him to hurt me, only for you to kill him by chance. You did nothing wrong. You did us a tremendous favor and freed the village from a threat. She held my hand, her gaze unwavering. "Husband, do not blame yourself anymore. Grandma Liu is seeking revenge against you, and she is being completely unreasonable. Our Hu family will help you, and we will find Uncle Wang." Just then, a sudden commotion came from outside the window, accompanied by the hissing of countless venomous snakes. Lingxi instantly went on guard. Her ears perked up slightly, and the two tails behind her appeared without her realizing it. A flash of white light, and she stood in front of me. "Husband, do not be afraid. This estate is protected by magic. Grandma Liu cannot break in." Grandma Liu's eerie voice pierced through the doors and windows. "Lin Chuan, Lingxi, do you think hiding with the Hu family will keep you safe? If that is the case, I will make the entire village pay for my grandson with their lives." After an unknown amount of time, the outside gradually fell quiet. "It is all right now. She has probably left. It is all my fault for being helpless. I have dragged innocent people into this." Lingxi reached out and took my hand, comforting me softly. "Do not worry. My grandmother keeps her word. Grandma Liu will not dare hurt Uncle Wang. First thing tomorrow morning, we will go down the mountain. We will find Uncle Wang. He will be all right." Her hand was warm, carrying that familiar, exotic fragrance. It soothed some of the anxiety in my heart. That night, I did not sleep at all. My mind kept replaying Uncle Wang's face and Grandma Liu's eerie smile. Lingxi seemed to sense my unease. She quietly moved beside me, curling up in my arms. Just like when we were children, she used her fluffy foxtail to gently brush the back of my hand. She whispered, "I am here. I will not let anyone hurt you." At first light, I got up with Lingxi. Qingyue was already waiting outside the door, looking far more serious than usual. My mother has made the arrangements. We are heading down the mountain now. But Grandma Liu is extremely cunning. Stay close behind me, and do not act on your own. It was clear. She had become more wary of Grandma Liu as well. We hurried along the mountain path toward Linjia village. The closer we came to the village, the heavier the fetid stench in the air became. The village, usually so lively, was now terrifyingly silent. Not even a chicken or dog could be heard. Every house had its doors and windows tightly shut, giving off an air of deathly stillness. Lingxi's expression darkened. Her fox ears pricked up slightly as she warily scanned the surroundings. Something is wrong. The Liu family's presence is here, and it is very strong. The moment we entered the village, we saw Uncle Wang tied beneath a locust tree. His face was pale, with blood at the corner of his mouth. His breathing was faint. That sinister Grandma Liu stood beside him, glaring at us viciously. "Lin Chuan, you really came." Grandma Liu let out a hoarse laugh, her voice dripping with malice. "I thought you would hide with the Hu family, like a coward for the rest of your life. I did not expect you would dare come out." She raised her vine staff. "You killed my grandson. Today, you will pay for that blood with your own. And everyone in this village will be buried with my grandson. Grandma Liu, do not overstep yourself." Qingyue stepped forward. A faint white glow rose behind her as the Fox clan's spiritual power burst forth. Lin Chuan is now the Hu family's son-in-law. Uncle Wang is his family. If you dare harm either of them, the Hu family will never forgive you. The Hu family, Grandma Liu sneered, her eyes turning even more vicious. The grudge between the Liu family and him ends today. Even if Grandma Hu comes, she cannot stop me. With that, she suddenly swung her vine staff. Qingyue immediately unleashed foxfire. Pale blue flames flared, blocking the venomous snakes rushing at them. Wherever the foxfire passed, the snakes were instantly burned to ash, releasing a harsh, burnt stench. "Take Uncle Wang and go. I will hold her off," Qingyue shouted. As she engaged Grandma Liu in battle, the vine staff clashed with the foxfire, hissing and crackling. The waves of spiritual power made the surrounding trees tremble. I seized the chance and rushed over, undoing the ropes binding Uncle Wang. Uncle Wang weakly collapsed into my arms, his voice hoarse. "Kid, I am just glad you are safe. Grandma Liu practices dark arts. She is very powerful. Take Miss Lingxi and leave, quickly." "I am not leaving. I am going to save you, and help Sister Qingyue too." Lingxi stepped in front of Uncle Wang and me. White light glowed around her body, and the two foxtails behind her fully emerged. Their fox fur was fluffy, radiating a faint otherworldly aura. "Grandma Liu, do not go too far. Your grandson was the one who tried to hurt me back then. Lin Chuan was right to save me. Why are you determined to destroy us all?" Grandma Liu was tied up fighting Qingyue, unable to break free for the moment. Seeing Lingxi protect me, the killing intent in her eyes deepened. "Little fox, this does not concern you. If you meddle again, I will kill you too." "Perfect. I will slaughter everyone in the Hu family, and let Grandma Hu taste the pain of losing her family." The moment she finished speaking, Grandma Liu suddenly bit the tip of her tongue until it bled, spitting out a mouthful of black blood. The black blood hit the ground, and instantly became a massive black python. It was the very one I had killed. The black python's spirit. It was larger than before, its body radiating cold, sinister black mist. Its eyes glowed blood red. As it lunged at me, it hissed, "Pay with your life. I want your life." I froze in terror, holding Uncle Wang as I backed away. But Lingxi charged forward without hesitation. Her two foxtails lashed at the black python, while foxfire flared in her palms and blasted toward it. "Lin Chuan, take Uncle Wang and go." Lingxi's voice trembled slightly. Clearly, the black python's spirit had been nourished by Grandma Liu's dark arts. Its power had grown immensely, and she could not hold it off alone. The black python was scorched by the foxfire and let out a pained shriek. Yet it did not retreat at all. Instead, it grew even more frenzied. Its enormous tail lashed brutally at her back. I watched helplessly. As the tail was about to strike Lingxi, my heart clenched. I tried to rush over, but Uncle Wang held me back with all his strength. Kid, do not go. You will only get yourself killed. Lingxi was instantly sent flying. I tore free from Uncle Wang's grip and ran to catch Lingxi in my arms. Lingxi, my eyes burned with rage as I held her against my chest. Lingxi's face was white as paper. Her breathing was faint. Even her fox ears drooped, but her gaze remained resolute as she looked at me. Lin Chuan, I am fine. Do not worry. You venomous hack. Holding Lingxi, I burned with rage. I grabbed the woodcutter's machete beside me and charged at the black python. Suddenly, I remembered the nameless ancient book Uncle Wang had given me. I instinctively opened it. Sure enough, it contained an incantation to restrain snake spirits. As I recited the incantation, I swung the machete. The machete suddenly began to glow. With a faint golden light, I slashed at the black python's head. Seeing this, Grandma Liu howled in fury. Impossible. You are only a mortal. How could you possess an incantation that restrains the Liu family? She tried to rush over and stop me, but Qingyue held her fast. Seeing Lingxi injured, Qingyue was enraged as well. Her foxfire blazed brighter, holding Grandma Liu firmly at bay. Suppressed by the incantation, the black python began to move sluggishly. I seized the opening and struck its head with one fierce blow. The black python let out a piercing, miserable shriek. Its black mist scattered instantly, turning into a wisp of green smoke and vanishing completely into the air. When Grandma Liu saw the black python's spirit destroyed, she spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Her face turned deathly pale, and her breath became wildly unstable. Grandma Liu's eyes turned blood red. She looked utterly insane. She violently broke free from Qingyue's restraint and brought her vine staff crashing down at me. The red snake on the staff bared its venomous fangs and bit at my throat. Seeing it, Lingxi used the last of her strength to push me away, but the staff struck her chest instead, and the black snake bit her shoulder. The venom spread at once. Her whole body shuddered. Then she collapsed into my arms, unconscious. Lingxi, wake up. I held her, tears streaming down my face. Her shoulder quickly reddened and swelled, while her whole body turned cold. Even her breathing became terribly faint. Qingyue seized the chance and rushed in. Her foxfire slammed viciously into Grandma Liu. Grandma Liu screamed and fell to the ground. Ha! My Liu family's feud with your Hu family, and with Lin Chuan. Even if my soul is destroyed, I will never let this vendetta end. As soon as she finished speaking, a cloud of black smoke rose, and Grandma Liu vanished. Qingyue hurried to Lingxi's side to examine her wounds. Her expression turned grave. This is bad. Grandma Liu's snake venom is lethal, and she practices dark arts. The venom has entered Lingxi's spiritual core. If she is not treated in time, Lingxi's spiritual power will completely dissipate. Her soul may even be destroyed. Does Grandma Hu have a way to save her? Qingyue shook her head helplessly. Then I remembered what Grandpa once told me. There was a place on the old street of a nearby county town called Six Paths Massage. If you encountered an incurable supernatural illness, you could try your luck there. It sounded like a shady massage parlor, but other than taking a gamble, I had no choice. I did not dare waste another second. Holding Lingxi, I stumbled out of the woods and reached the road. I frantically flagged down a bus. The bus was crowded. I climbed aboard carrying a stunning woman, her face pale and clothes slightly disheveled. Every passenger immediately stared at us. I lowered my head and forced myself to walk to a corner seat in the back row. I held Lingxi tightly against me. The bus pulled away, bouncing violently along the road. Lingxi grew more and more restless in my arms. She seemed to be suffering terribly. From her throat came muffled, desperately restrained whimpers, like an injured little fox. Her hands moved wildly without her control. Her nails grew slightly longer, glowing with an eerie red light. Several passengers in front turned around and eyed us strangely. I could vaguely hear them whispering, "Young people these days, acting like that in public. Do they not care how it looks?" I was so embarrassed my scalp went numb. I could only hold Lingxi tightly against me, pleading softly in her ear. "Please, Lingxi, do not move. Just hold on a little longer. We are almost there." But she seemed to have lost her mind. She opened her mouth and bit down on my palm. Her sharp fangs pierced my flesh. Blood flowed into her mouth, It was as if she had tasted something sweet. A low gulping sound came from her throat. The red glow in her eyes intensified. I endured the searing pain, without letting go, not daring to make a sound. Thankfully, after sucking for a while, she calmed down. Her body was still burning hot, pressed tightly against mine. That whole journey, between the pain in my body and the stranger's judging stares, was even more agonizing than before. Finally, the bus reached the county town. As if fleeing from my life, I raced off the bus with Lingxi in my arms. This was the center of the county town. Traffic packed the streets, and students heading home from school were everywhere. Each of them carried a backpack, while I carried a woman in Fox clan attire, her face deathly pale. I could not have looked more out of place. I kept my head down, quickened my pace, and slipped into a dim alley. I stopped outside a rundown storefront. Half the neon sign was broken. On the sign for 6 pots massage, only 6 massage still flickered. The entrance was covered with little ads claiming to cure every difficult ailment. On the glass door hung a sign reading, "Legitimate massage." Yet it looked anything but legitimate. I pushed the door open and went inside. An old man wearing sunglasses was reclining in a lounge chair, rolling to walnuts in his hand. Beside him lay a white cane and a magazine. A proper massage cost 100 yuan. For anything improper, turn left when you leave. Without looking up, the old man said. I did not waste time talking. I immediately took Lingxi, who was already delirious, in my arms, and laid her on the massage bed. I pulled back the coat wrapped around her, exposing the snake bite on her shoulder. The skin around it had already turned black. I said urgently, treat her. She was poisoned by the Liu family snake venom. Please save her. At the words, Liu family snake venom, the old man abruptly stood. His voice became more serious. By then, Lingxi had completely lost her senses. She snapped wildly at the air, faint black mist curling around her. The old man went to the bed and took Lingxi's pulse. His brows drew tight, and his face suddenly changed. How did you get mixed up with the Liu family? That vile poison. Then he looked behind Lingxi, at the faint fox phantom taking shape there. He sighed. The venom has seeped into her marrow. Any later, and she will fully transform into a beast, becoming a wild fox, who can never take human form again. Kid, I advise you to throw her out. Then you might save your own life. Otherwise, she will drain you dry and leave you a corpse tonight. I looked at Lingxi struggling in pain. Unconsciously, she was still calling, husband. My heart ached. I took from my pocket what Uncle Wang had given me. The bank book. I slapped it heavily into his hand. There are 30,000 yuan in it. See if it is enough. As long as you can save her, I will pay any price. The old man looked at the bank book, then at me. There was newfound approval in his eyes. He sighed. The money is enough, but I cannot cure her. This is the Liu family's secret vile poison. Even acupuncture cannot cure it. Only the one bound to her can undo it. The only antidote is you. I looked at him, utterly confused. He explained gravely. This poison attacks the heart. It magnifies the desires buried within her, and her beastly nature 100-fold. Right now, she sees only you, the man she loves. Any other man, before he could even touch her, she would see him as an intruder, and she would tear him to pieces. Only with you, her subconscious may yield to you, but only if you can endure her madness. One mistake, and she will drain your vital essence, leaving you a dried corpse. I froze. Seeing Lingxi in such agony, I remembered how she was hurt protecting me. I gritted my teeth and nodded. As long as it saves her, I will endure anything. The old man turned and reached beneath the counter, pulling out a red cloth bundle and stuffing it into my arms. Inside is a pair of dragon and phoenix wedding candles. Take her at once, somewhere quiet, light the wedding candles, and you can begin purging the poison. But remember, before the candles burn out, the poison must be fully purged. Otherwise, you will both suffer a backlash. Your soul's utterly destroyed. With that, he also brought out a bottle of treasured Realger wine and handed it to me. There is another major problem. Once you begin purging the poison, heaven and earth will erupt in strange disturbances. Every demon and spirit within 3 miles will sense it, especially Grandma Liu, who poisoned her. She will never let this chance pass. This Realger wine may hold her off for a little while. I clenched my fists. After thanking the old man, I carried Lingxi out of the shop. I did not dare waste a second. I rushed into the small inn next door and ran to the innermost room with a large bed. The moment we entered, I laid Lingxi on the bed. Her face was twisted in pain. Her body was still burning hot. Her nails constantly clawed at the sheets. Following the old man's instructions, I first took the real wine and sprinkled it along the door and window seams. Then I took out the dragon and phoenix wedding candles and lit them, placing them by the bed. The candlelight flickered. Its dim yellow glow fell across Lingxi, making her pain face seem a little softer. Looking at the wedding candles, my heart was a tangle of emotions. The wedding we had failed to complete at the Hu family home. I never expected that while we were on the run, we would have to continue our wedding this way. I wanted to wipe away her sweat, but the next moment, her eyes flew open. A fierce red light blazed within them. She suddenly sat upright. A deafening thunderclap exploded in the night outside. A violent wind rose, battering the window, making the glass rattle. Lingxi seemed on the verge of transforming into a beast. Several times she tried to bite me, only to stop abruptly. My instinct was to fight back, but I feared the antidote would fail and leave her fully transformed. So I could only endure it. Suddenly, familiar black mist filled the room. Then the wedding candles suddenly went out. A heavy pounding came from the door. That relentless voice echoed from the hallway. Lin Chuan, today is the day you die. It was Granny Liu. As expected, the aura of the antidote had drawn her here. The voice outside seemed to provoke Lingxi. She jerked up her head, crimson light surging in her eyes, ready to rush out and fight to the death. I quickly grabbed her, rolled over, and pinned her beneath me. I soothed her softly. Lingxi, do not act rashly. You are not cured yet. You are no match for her. Trust me. We will survive this. The next instant, a tremendous force smashed through the lock. Granny Liu stood in the doorway. Countless hissing venomous snakes coiled behind her. Her cloudy eyes fixed viciously on us in the bed. Her face twisted into a savage grimace. Little fox, you can barely save yourself. Yet you still want to protect him? Today, I will kill him first. Then watch you slowly become a beast and suffer a fate worse than death. I looked down at Lingxi as she struggled in agony. Then at the dragon and phoenix candles blown out too soon. A determination unlike any I had ever known rose within me. I grabbed the half-full bottle of real wine from the bedside and hurled it at Granny Liu. The bottle shattered, dousing Granny Liu in real wine. She let out a piercing scream. Black smoke billowed from her body. She had gone mad, heedless of her injuries. She charged straight at me and raised her cane, bringing it down toward the crown of my head. Do not touch him. At that critical instant, Lingxi had somehow risen to her feet. A massive phantom fox appeared behind her. Immortal aura swirled around her body. A piercing fox cry rang through the room, shattering every pane of glass. The phantom fox behind Lingxi abruptly expanded, radiating world-destroying pressure, then lunged at Granny Liu. Granny Liu's face changed drastically. Before she could retreat, the phantom fox slammed into her and sent her flying. Her screams were swallowed by the thunderstorm outside. Just wait. The Liu family will not let this go. Even as a ghost, I will never spare you. An unseen force slammed the door shut. The room fell silent again. The dragon and phoenix candles lit up again. Their glow shone brighter than before. Lingxi's immortal aura faded, as if she had used up every last bit of strength. She collapsed limply onto the bed. The red light faded from her eyes, replaced by a hazy softness like a pool of spring water. My husband, she called softly. Her sweet, tender voice made my heart tremble. Clearly, the poison had not been fully purged, and less than half of the wedding candles remained. I looked at the breathtaking face before me. No longer hesitating, I reached up and pulled the bedside light cord. Then I held her tightly in my arms. When I woke again, it was the morning of the third day. Sunlight streamed through the curtains onto the bed. I moved my aching arm and found Lingxi lying quietly in my arms. The color had returned to her cheeks, and her breathing was steady. Relief washed over me as I started to get up. But Lingxi woke up. She stretched, then happily jumped up. She planted a loud kiss on my cheek. My husband, the poison is gone, and I turned disaster into a blessing. My demon power has grown considerably. Now I can protect you even better. I took her hand and carefully examined the wound on her shoulder. It had healed completely, leaving only a faint mark. Where is that crazy old woman? I asked anxiously. Lingxi curled her lip dismissively. My demon power backfired on her yesterday. She was badly injured. She probably fled back to the Liu family to recover. Do not worry. Once we return and tell Grandma, we will settle accounts with the Liu family properly. They will never bully us again. Hearing that, the weight on my heart finally lifted. I pulled her tightly into my arms. Her real body warmth finally convinced me that we had survived. Afterward, we packed our things and immediately returned to the village. The moment we reached the village entrance, we saw Uncle Wang standing there, leaning on his cane and searching the road. When he saw us return safely, the old man burst into tears. It turned out that after the crazy old woman fled badly wounded that day, the snakes surrounding the village had all scattered. Even more amazingly, the villagers who had suffered mild snake venom poisoning had all recovered overnight. Uncle Wang took my hand and looked me over from head to toe. Then he looked at Lingxi, his eyes red-rimmed. "You foolish children, you finally came back," I thought. I gripped Uncle Wang's hand and said through tears, "Uncle Wang, I am sorry we made you worry. We are fine. Lingxi is fine too." Uncle Wang looked at us and said meaningfully, "The ancestors of Linjia village owed the Hu family an enormous debt of gratitude. Now that you've joined the Hu family as their live-in son-in-law, and Lingxi has protected our village, that repays the karmic debt between us, spanning centuries." As he spoke, he firmly placed Lingxi's hand over mine. "My dear boy, I always feared your harsh fate would leave you lonely and alone. But now, you have Lingxi. Even if I close my eyes for good one day, I will go in peace." I squeezed Lingxi's hand, feeling the warmth in her palm. Lingxi was no longer playful. She squeezed my hand in return, and gently leaned against my shoulder. She whispered in my ear, "From now on, with me here, no one will ever bully you or Uncle Wang, and no one will bully our village." After that, I took Lingxi back to the Hu family home. During the days Lingxi spent recovering, I never left her side. I brought her water, fed her medicine, and cared for her attentively. Even Uncle Wang teased me, saying I was more worried than Granny Hu. Lingxi still could not shake her spoiled, willful nature. She often pestered me to tell her amusing stories from down the mountain, especially embarrassing stories from when I herded cattle. They made her giggle endlessly. The laughing too long would pull at her wound, making her brow furrow in pain. I would quickly stop her and make her rest, but she would pout, tug at my sleeve, and whine sweetly. "No, I just want to hear you talk. When you are here, it does not hurt." Qingyue came every day to check on Lingxi's injuries and bring news from outside. She said the Liu family's remnants had indeed not stayed quiet. They had been active deep in the mountains lately, and had contacted rogue immortals who practiced dark arts. It seemed they planned to join forces and take revenge on us. Granny Hu had ordered the Hu family's defenses strengthened, while sending people to track the Liu remnants' movements. They had to eliminate the threat completely. Later, Granny Hu fully deciphered the ancient book for me. It contained many secret techniques my grandfather had left behind. After that, with Lingxi's help, I gradually began learning magic. Though spoiled and willful, Lingxi was exceptionally serious when teaching me magic. Now and then, she would frown and glare at me. "My husband, why are you so hopeless? You have recited that incantation wrong 3 times already." But then she would patiently hold my hand and teach me the hand seals, little by little. All right, I will not scold you anymore. I will teach you one last time. Do not get it wrong again." One day, Lingxi and I were practicing magic together, when hurried footsteps suddenly sounded outside. Qingyue's anxious voice called out, "Lin Chuan, Lingxi, trouble. The Liu family remnants have broken in with dark cultivators. They have already breached the outer defenses, and are heading for the inner rooms." Lingxi's expression changed. "No, I have to help." I quickly held her back, my voice firm. "Your injuries have not healed. Stay here and behave. I will go help Sister Qingyue. Do not worry. We will be fine." With that, I picked up the nameless ancient book Uncle Wang had given me, gripped the woodcutter's blade beside me, and turned to leave. "Wait." Lingxi grabbed my hand, her eyes full of worry. She pulled a small fox-shaped jade pendant from her robes and pressed it into my hand. "I have worn this protective charm since I was little. It can ward off some dark magic. Take it and be careful. Nothing can happen to you, or I will never speak to you again." Her voice caught slightly. Her eyes were full of reluctance and concern. I gripped the jade pendant. It was warm, carrying Lingxi's scent. I nodded firmly. "I promise I will return safely. Wait for me." With that, I turned and rushed out of the inner room. The moment I reached the main hall, I saw several dark figures fighting the Hu family's servants. They radiated a cold, sinister aura, and wielded poison-coated weapons. Every strike was vicious and lethal. Several injured servants already lay on the floor. Granny Hu stood imposingly in the center of the hall, Her hands formed seals as foxfire blazed in her palms. She was locked in battle with a black-clad man leading the attackers. The man's face was dark and sinister. He held a snake-headed staff. He was Liu Feng, leader of the Liu family remnants. They said he was Granny Liu's nephew, and his dark arts were even crueler than hers. Granny Hu, today I will avenge Granny Liu. I will avenge the Liu family. Liu Feng roared. He violently swung his snake-headed staff, spraying a stream of black venom at Granny Hu. Granny Hu twisted aside to evade it. The venom struck the floor, and instantly corroded a small crater into it, releasing a choking, fishy stench. Qingyue was battling to dark cultivators, but she was gradually being overwhelmed. Several cuts already marked her body. When she saw me, she quickly shouted, "Lin Chuan, watch out for their venom." I nodded and opened the nameless ancient book. I found an incantation that countered dark magic. Reciting it, I swung my woodcutter's blade. Golden light shimmered over the blade as I slashed at a dark cultivator beside me. That dark cultivator had not expected a mere mortal like me to use magic that countered them. Caught off guard, he was struck in the shoulder by my blade. He let out a shriek. His body slowly became transparent. His dark power had clearly been broken, and he was about to fade away. When Liu Feng saw that I had wounded his subordinate, his gaze turned even more vicious. He violently broke free of Granny Hu's restraint and swung his snake-headed staff brutally at me. "You little brat, you beat Granny Liu's grandson to death back then. Today, I will kill you first, then kill that little fox." My heart clenched as I quickly dodged aside. The staff slammed into the ground with a deafening crash. It gouged a huge crater into the floor. Just as I was about to recite the incantation again, Liu Feng suddenly spat out a mouthful of black blood. The black blood transformed into several tiny snakes. My heart tightened. I hurriedly dodged aside, frantically flipping through the nameless ancient book. I found the incantation to counter snake magic, and chanted it urgently and loudly. The golden light on my woodcutter's blade grew brighter. I swung my blade in a wide arc. Several tiny snakes charging at the front were instantly severed by the golden light, vanishing in wisps of black smoke. But there were too many tiny snakes. As I dodged, one of them still bit my arm. A piercing pain tore through me. Black venom rapidly spread from the wound. I let out a muffled groan, but did not dare pause for even a second. I gripped my woodcutter's blade and kept fighting. "You little brat do have some skill, but sadly, you are still only a mortal." Liu Feng sneered. He swung his snake-headed staff again. A thick stream of black venom sprayed toward me. I hastily raised my woodcutter's blade to block it. Venom splashed across the blade, hissing as it corroded the metal. Several small pits were instantly eaten into its surface. Using the force of the blow, I staggered back several steps. I endured the searing agony in my arm, and recited the incantation again. Golden light burst from my woodcutter's blade as I charged at Liu Feng. Liu Feng's gaze turned cold. He sidestepped my attack, then flicked his staff backhandedly, smashing it viciously toward my knee. I steadied myself and dropped to one knee, while slashing my blade at his wrist. Liu Feng cried out in pain. His staff nearly flew from his hand. Humiliated and enraged, he formed hand seals with both hands. Black energy surged around him. Countless venomous snakes poured from the dark mist, swarming thickly toward me, and trapping me in their midst. At that critical moment, Granny Hu and Qingyue rushed in together. The foxfire in Granny Hu's palms flared fiercely, becoming a massive wall of flame that blocked the incoming snakes. Wherever the foxfire passed, the venomous snakes burned to ash. Qingyue flashed forward, leaping behind Liu Feng. Foxfire gathered in her palm, forming a sharp blade, which she thrust toward Liu Feng's back. Liu Feng sensed movement behind him, and hurriedly turned to block with his staff. The foxfire blade collided with the staff, creating a thunderous impact. Liu Feng was thrown back several steps. He spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. I seized the chance to burst out of the snake's encirclement. Enduring the agony in my arm, I swung my blade at Liu Feng again. My incantation never stopped. The golden light from my blade intertwined with Granny Hu and Qingyue's foxfire, forming a dazzling net of light that closed in Liu Feng. Liu Feng's face changed drastically. He quickly summoned dark energy to defend himself, but the net of light was far too powerful. The dark energy was torn apart in an instant. The light net crashed brutally into him. Liu Feng let out a scream of agony. His body shook violently. Liu Feng's eyes turned bloodshot. He looked utterly deranged. He bit the tip of his tongue again, and spat out another mouthful of black blood, trying to forcibly raise his power. But Granny Hu and Qingyue had already suppressed him, and I had struck him several times, forcing his power now. only injured him further. Blood kept spilling from the corner of his mouth, and his breath became increasingly unstable. Qingyue seized the chance to cast a binding spell. Several foxfire chains wrapped around Liu Feng's limbs, binding him tightly and leaving him unable to move. Though Liu Feng was firmly bound, he still refused to give up. The Liu family will not let you get away with this. They will avenge me. And avenge Granny Liu. Just you wait. Granny, whose gaze turned cold, foxfire ignited in her palm as she slowly approached Liu Feng. The Liu family has committed countless evils. Today, I will deliver heaven's justice. I will wipe out threats like you for good. So, you can never endanger the mortal world again. The moment she finished speaking, she slammed the foxfire in her palm into Liu Feng's chest. Liu Feng let out a shrill, agonized scream. His body gradually became transparent, until it turned into a wisp of black smoke, and vanished completely into the air. The remaining evil cultivators saw their leader destroyed, left leaderless. They fled in every direction, only to be subdued one by the Hu family's servants. The battle was over. I could not hold on any longer, and stumbled to the ground. Qingyue hurried over, pulling out a bottle of healing pills from her robes. She fed one to me, temporarily suppressing the spread of the venom. Granny, who helped me into the inner room. The moment we pushed open the door, I met Lingxi's eyes, brimming with worry. She had already thrown back the covers, and was waiting at the edge of the bed. Her fox ears drooped slightly. Lin Chuan, what happened? Your arm. Lingxi immediately noticed my bandaged arm and my pale face. Her eyes instantly reddened. Are you hurt? I told you I should have gone with you, but you would not let me. Are you all right? She came to my side and carefully touched my arm, then quickly pulled her hand back, afraid of hurting me. I endured the intense pain in my arm. Forcing out a smile, I gently patted her hand. I'm fine. It is only a small injury. I deliberately made light of it, but Lingxi would not let it go. Tears spilled from her eyes. What do you mean, a small injury? Your arm is bandaged like this, and you are still lying to me. Will you only be satisfied once you have scared me to death? Seeing how upset Lingxi was, Granny, who sighed helplessly, and stepped forward to comfort her. Lingxi, do not panic. Lin Chuan's injury is not too serious. He was only poisoned by a snake. I have already treated him. He will recover completely in a few days. As she spoke, Granny, who took the spirit fox jade from a brocade box. The piercing pain eased considerably at once. Lingxi stayed close at my side, never taking her eyes off my arm. She wiped the cold sweat from my brow, while murmuring softly, "This is all my fault. If my injuries had healed, I could have fought beside you, and you would not have been hurt. You are not allowed to take risks alone again. If you go, take me with you. Even if I cannot defeat them, I can still shield you." Looking at her reddened eyes, my heart ached even as it warmed. All right, I will listen to you. No matter where I go from now on, I will take you with me. I will never face danger alone again. Over the next few days, Lingxi put aside her usual playful innocence, and never left my side. Before dawn each day, she would personally gather calming herbs in the back hills. After returning, she would clumsily brew medicine. The medicine was either too bitter, or had not brewed long enough. She would scrunch up her little face, and taste it herself first. It was bitter enough to make her grimace, yet she still brought it to me. Husband, drink it quickly. Drink it, and your injury will heal faster. I will make it taste better next time. I could not bear to reject her kindness. No matter how bitter it was, I drank it all in one gulp. At once, she beamed with joy. She handed me an osmanthus candy she had made herself, and fed it to me on tiptoe. Sweet, right? I specially bought the osmanthus flowers from the foot of the mountain. It took me so long to make these. I was afraid the medicine would be too bitter for you. As she spoke, she reached out and touched my arm again. She softly asked, "Does it still hurt? Should I use my fox power to heal it some more?" Before I could answer, she extended her pale fingers. A faint white glow shimmered at her fingertips. Then she gently laid them over my wound. Her touch was as gentle as if she were cherishing a priceless treasure. Uncle Wang came to see me every day. Every time, he could not resist teasing us. "Lin Chuan, you really are one lucky kid. Lingxi cares so much about you. You had better not bully her from now on." Lingxi's cheeks turned bright red at that. She hid behind me, but still peeked out and said sweetly, "Uncle Wang, I would never let my husband bully me. If he does, I will bite him." As she spoke, She deliberately bared her tiny pointed fangs. That made us all burst out laughing. The mood in the room grew lighter too. Qingyue also came by often, bringing news of the manor's security. She said the Liu family's remaining forces had been suppressed for now, but it was still best to stay cautious. Granny, who came by occasionally as well, to examine my injuries. She would also teach me a few tricks of magic. Lin Chuan, you are highly perceptive. With Lingxi helping you, you will soon be able to stand on your own. A few days later, my injuries gradually healed. The wound on my arm had faded to a shallow scar. When Lingxi saw I was better, she returned to her usual spoiled, playful self. She pestered me to take her to the back hills, saying she wanted to pick her favorite wild hawthorn berries. Helpless but indulgent, I could only go with her. She skipped along ahead, turning back now and then to wave at me. Husband, hurry up. Her tail swayed happily behind her. Sunlight poured over her. She looked as though she were gilded in gold. When we reached a hawthorn tree in the back hills, Lingxi rose onto her tiptoes, but could not reach the high berries. She frowned in frustration and turned to whine sweetly at me. Husband, pick them for me. I want the biggest, reddest one. Smiling, I walked over and gently lifted her up so she could reach the hawthorn berries. She plucked one, wiped it clean, and held it to my lips. Husband, you eat first. It is so sweet. I took a bite, and its sweet tart flavor spread across my tongue. Looking into her sparkling eyes, my heart was full of warmth. Just then, Lingxi suddenly wrapped her arms around my neck and kissed my cheek. She whispered, Husband, let us never face danger again. Can we stay safe and happy like this forever? All right, we will never face danger again. I will train my magic diligently and protect you. I will never let any of you suffer harm again. Lingxi nestled in my arms, her eyes crinkling with a joyful smile. Her tail gently curled around my waist. A soft breeze drifted by. The hawthorn leaves rustled. The sun was warm, and all was serene, but neither of us noticed. Deep within the snowy mountains, a dark shadow was watching us intently.